Conversations from the ZoomRoom.
Everybody, Bill here from Solana Beach, California. Hope you're doing well. In our last episode, Dave Chute, famed industry guru, entrepreneur, inventor, and all-around fantastic guy, expanded on his ideas around what effect coronavirus is having on the optical industry. In this next episode, Dave continues the discussion and talks about some very heavy topics, including a mass extinction event. Dave gets real here, so check it out. Hope you enjoy this episode and that you find some tips for your own survival and thriving post-COVID.
The FYI docs up in Canada, right? They did say standardization, right? And Specsavers to me is standardization. So I kind of think you can't squeeze the inefficiencies out unless you have a lot of standardization. And that's counter to what most ECPs want to do.
Correct.
They want to fight the battle their own way. And okay, that's fine, because you need to have all this high touch to support a $900 sale. But you can't do that with most of America.
Yeah. Well, and the hard part too with so many of the independents is that, unless the doc is there in the back room, they're not selling any glasses.
Right.
Also, what percentage of your sales come from walk-in business? From independents? I don't know the answer, but just anecdotally, I would say under 5%. And that's even 5% with existing patients who come in, right? And so, there's a lot of opportunities, so to speak.
Well, and I think that, I think it's important to understand the fundamental underlying economics, because economics drives so much, right? Mm-hmm. If you're only doing 8, 9, 10 transactions a day, you need $100 a transaction just to cover your fixed costs, right? And then if you can't make money on your plan frames, you have to upsell them on the frame and the lens. If you got 1,000 frames and you got 30% returns, and then you're overnighting samples for $8, $9 to a lab, and then it's coming back, and you have to sell something for $400, $500, $600 a big percentage of the time. Now maybe it's subsidized, but to make your economics work, there's no way around that. And then you're always looking for new. So you got your 27 frame vendors showing you new when there's only like 8 eye shapes and 3 colors and 3 sizes that matter. So you have 125,000 active styles, of which 30% are turning over every year. And you have a fixed cost of $20,000, $30,000 for every new style because of tooling and design and prototypes and whatever. The economics are so absurd that the marginal price to keep the least efficient ECP in business is really, really high. Yeah. But if you're Warby Parker or Zenni or anybody with your own controlled lenses and frames, you can be 90% lower cost with about the same product.
Do you feel like this situation where we find ourselves in today will shift the landscape significantly?
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
How? What do you think?
Well, it's like a mass extinction event. If you're a weak retailer, you're out of business. Mm-hmm. On the supply side, people go out of business. They get freaked out. On the demand side, people start saving money, I think, right? Yeah. And then, like for me, 10% of reading glasses are sold online. It's going to be 20%. Mm-hmm. Went out of the same, some number, right? And it's my objective to pick up as much of that business as I can, right? Sure. And most of my business, 80% of my business is online. So I'm getting hammered by my retail business, but I can adjust. And so I think, if you're well positioned, you're going to do way better and you're going to accelerate. If you're poor positioned, you're dead. Yeah. Until there's a vaccine. Yeah, life never goes back to normal, right? Maybe you have tests and antibody checking, and you start to bring people back. And if you own commercial real estate, you realize so many people don't even need their offices anymore. The rents get changed. I think that there's just a lot of change, right? And I think the strong get stronger, the weak die. And whatever was accelerating to do stuff online just gets accelerated 10 years, and in 6 months kind of thing. For both of my non-for-profits, I'm basically helping them manage their way through this. And there's this great Darwin quote.
Yeah.
So it's not the strongest of the species, the smart that survive, or even the smartest. It's those most willing and able to adapt, right? And that's true for now, right? You just got to shift what you're doing big time.
Do you see businesses already? I mean, not the mom and pops, but larger businesses. Anybody going out? Yeah.
No, but you can imagine it, right? I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is, so what's the exit plan, right?
Yeah.
So you can't have 1 to 4 million Americans dead, right? You can't have 100 to 200 million people infected with a 2% mortality rate. So you eventually have to shut down and social distance, right? Now, it should all be done at the same time, but we don't. So it takes us 2 to 3 months to get that curve bending over and transmission rates to drop and then kind of get some degree of control. But you're never going to shut it down, so you can't release it. It'll flare back up again, right? So you can release it slowly. You can test people and quarantine them and do contact tracing and have antibody testing for somebody that might have immunity, and then let those people go to work. But that's a slow bring back, right? And then you're doing this antiviral testing and immunity enhancing stuff. And so maybe that happens in the fall. And so you kind of slowly build your way back, but you can't get back to normal till you have a vaccine. And that's a year from now, best case.
Yes.
So how do you survive that? Right. So I'm going to figure out a way to survive. I'll figure out a way, but I think there's a lot of companies that may not. And if you're like the weakest guy and you're on the bubble, I think you're just gone. For a month or two, you can always survive, but 3, 4, 5, 6 months, harder. So we were technically bankrupt a year ago when I came in, and the investors wrote me a check, said, "Here it is. That's all you got. You better make that work." And I think, but half went out the door to pay off receivable or payables, and so I had about 4 months of operating capital. And but within 2 months we were break even, and about 5 months later we were making record profits. And so now I headed into this storm, and they're writing me checks because they know that I got a strong company. We know what we're doing. So I had 5 months of profitability. Never had that before. I had more money in the bank than we've ever had, and I had my investors writing me checks. So I enter this thing strong. So I'll come out of this fine, and I'm going to dramatically pivot what we do. So we'll come out of this fine. But if you're a weak company, no investor's writing you a check. Yeah. You don't have a lot of money in the bank, and your best employees are saying, "I'm out of here because I don't believe this Yahoo," right? Mm-hmm. So I think it just collapses. You guys are really well positioned because you can shuck and jive and zig and zag, and you know what the consumer issues are, and you can pick the right people to deal with, and so you got that flexibility. If you're a 55-year-old guy with a high-end practice in a mill town that's going to lose all its business, probably in trouble.
For me personally, this has spurred me on to look at problems, that clients have and potential clients have in an even clearer way. And, Azar is very helpful for me to temper the intuition between that and actual research, right? And knowledge, right? Hey, I get it, but let's ask people, is this the truth? What is the truth? So I feel personally very stimulated at this moment in time to innovate and to do new things and help those who want to grow still and survive.
Conversations from the ZoomRoom.